Greetings. Our Bible often writes of rest, as in the Sabbath, or as in Hebrews 4:1, the promise of entering his rest. This can lead some of us to picture at the end of the day, or of the week, or the beginning of our time with Jesus in his kingdom as being a time of total collapse into a heavenly recliner, dozing off through time. Not so. This is the Practicing Christian. This week's report is on the question of indolent Christians. Life insurance policies, Social Security programs, lifetime memberships in the NRA or the REI, making the last payment on the mortgage. There are 1,000 or more of such things that tell us, now, sit back, relax. No more stress, no more work, no parenting, and so forth. Some people even treat marriage this way. Yeah, I reminded her I loved her last year, I guess. Or fatherhood. Well, son, you're a man now. Time to get out there on your own. Can I help you pack? We all look forward to this in most realms of our lives. It seldom works. Some decades ago, men came out of college and thought, or were told, now my education is complete. It never is. Any lawyer, advertising exec, structural engineer, or oncologist who had a complete, full education 10 years ago and has learned nothing since is dangerous, or at least unemployable. God has arranged little reminders of this within us, practicing Christians. If we're down with a busted knee for 2 weeks, it takes us 6 weeks to get fully back up to where we were. If we don't work at this, we never get back up there. He has arranged it so that once we're past 25 years of age, our deterioration rate speeds up. Inactivity isolates it. At that age, we have 800,000 muscle fibers in our upper leg. By the time we reach the age of 60, there are only 250,000 of those fibers left. Those fibers with nerves running in them are where muscle tissue grows. They can't be replaced, but with good effort, additional muscles can be grown on the existing fibers. People entering dementia are encouraged to learn the violin or Russian or whatever puts their mind through challenges every day. Last rites are for both the earnest Christian who's been running apace with his Lord and for the reprobate who has ignored God for half a century and wants cheap reassurance, a paid-off life membership in the kingdom of heaven. God reminds us each fall, when the plants wither and die, and each spring, when they come back into their vigor, that there are cycles of decay and renewal. Just as there were men who refused to learn how to drive a car, even as late as 1925, so there are men now who are almost, maybe really proud of being computer illiterate. Our indolence on so many matters of family life and work, of bodily life and the life of the mind, of civic matters and community life, presents us with subtle reminders that life is to be lived as energetically when we are 80 as when we were 8. We must prioritize what's important for us as time goes on. Remember always, there will be men who will take advantage of you and get you to miss out on much of your life. These people are called your employers. Some men, when interviewing, after having made as good an impression as they can and perhaps having received a job offer, will say, I'd like to take a chance to work for you and with your people. I must tell you, however, that I love my wife, my kids, and my God, and I will not stay on a job that continually, week after week, takes up more than 50 hours of my time. Nor will I be happy in one where company loyalty means I never take my vacation time. A study made in 2006 found that half of the workers that they looked at were avoiding vacations, and many others had nothing they wanted to do on them. As you say this to a potential employer, remember the old song Cats in the Cradle about the absent dad. Remember how many years you may live to regret a son who at 21 says to you, I wanted to learn how to be a man from you, Dad, but I could never find you. Sunday I spoke with a man, Dieter, who lost his wife a year ago, and who now, at 67, cherishes the love he had for her as her illness progressed. He reminds me of another man, Ray, to whom this happened when he was in his 50s. Ray takes his inward, burning, raging loss and turns it into energy to be a good, strong, and faithful father to his 4 children, all while doing consulting work that takes him over the world. Alfred Tennyson, the devout Christian, was England's most loved poet in the 19th century. He wrote Idylls of the King and The Charge of the Light Brigade. In his middle years, he entered into a period of mourning over the death of his closest friend. During this time, he rarely wrote and for many years battled alcoholism. Many of his poems were about the temptation to give up and fall prey to pessimism. But they also extol the virtues of optimism and discuss the importance of struggling on. This he finally did himself and resumed the output of poetry and writing and serving as England's poet laureate until his death in 1892 at age 83. This morning I again read Jesus in Luke 13:18-21, where he first likened his kingdom to a great tree that keeps on growing, and then to yeast, which expands and keeps on expanding as long as there's dough to be leavened. On a recent morning, I read of Jesus' parable about the faithful servants. They were ready to move instantly, prepared to respond at once to the Lord they revered. I know why he reminds us of such things in the Gospels. It's because it's a way to remind us that he always sets before us service for us to perform through despair, crippling illness, boredom, blindness, or whatever. Serve then. Be the King's right arm.